I've often heard this saying, your health is like money. Take care of it and it will take care of you. So have you been taking the best possible care of your health? Well, on today's episode of Jamaica Magazine, I'm going to share with you how the government is creating a healthy Jamaican society, and also what's being done to ensure that the nation's vulnerable are being equipped to contribute to the productive process in strategic priority number 5, social inclusion and protection. I'm Oroya Eubanks. Join me as we flip through the pages of Jamaica Magazine. Stay tuned. JIS News is next.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chisholm and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 8. Based on the latest data, the Economic Program Oversight Committee (EPOC) says Jamaica's economy is on the right track and the country is sticking to the terms and conditions outlined in the agreement with the International Monetary Fund. Stacey Ann Smith tells us more.
At a press conference on Tuesday, EPOC pointed out that Jamaica's net international reserves, NIR, stood at approximately $2.2 billion as at the end of September, the highest since June 2011. The NIR, which is used to take care of external commitments like importing oil, is also $972 million ahead of the September IMF targets.
That number will be reducing in the months to come as government pays out some debt. In particular, there's a Eurobond to be paid out in October.
EPOC's co-chairman added that Jamaica's primary balance at the end of August was $3.4 billion ahead of the $24.6 billion target. However, tax revenues at the end of September were approximately $6 billion below target.
Part of the reason for this is that the last 2 days of August fell on a weekend. You have the phenomenon where people don't pay the day before the weekend but pay the day after, and so it rolls over into September.
To compensate for the shortfall, expenditure was $10.3 billion below budget. Stacey Ann Smith reporting for JIS News.
The Education Ministry is reporting that schools continue to cope despite high absenteeism due to the chikungunya outbreak. As at October 7, a survey by the ministry revealed up to 30% of staff and students across the 6 regions had missed classes. The most affected parishes are Kingston and St. Andrew, followed by the Region 2 parishes of St. Thomas, Portland and St. Mary. The least affected parishes with 23 suspected cases are Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites has commended the management and staff of the affected schools for their efforts to keep the institutions open and provide as much health care as possible to students. He is also appealing to parents to be on the alert for symptoms of CHIKV and other illnesses and to get medical attention for their children immediately. Government continues to deliver on its commitment to improve primary health care facilities across the island. A few days ago, the Health Ministry reopened the upgraded and expanded Williamsfield Health Centre in Westmoreland. After $8 million of extensive work, the health centre is now able to accommodate more persons with its additional examination rooms and larger waiting areas. Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson says these kinds of developments will continue.
We have sent to Cabinet and Cabinet will take a decision as it relates to primary health care and the renewal of primary health care. There's going to be some changes in the configuration of primary health care, but I am saying to you, it will be for the better and it will lead to improve quality of care.
In the meantime, Dr. Ferguson says he's pleased with the work done at Williamsfield and has pledged to construct a security fence around the facility. The Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission (BGLC) has cemented a partnership with the police to tackle illegal gaming practices in Jamaica. This follows Tuesday's signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the BGLC and the Organized Crime Investigative Division (OCID). The two entities will work together to prosecute persons who break the law. Head of OCID, Senior Superintendent Clifford Chambers, says the new mandate will be carried out by the Trafficking in Persons Intellectual Property and Vice Unit.
We will be beefing up the persons who are in that unit. This is the business of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, and we have to ensure that those who are involved in this feel confident in expanding, feel confident in spending, and by extension feel confident that the police or other law enforcement agencies will be there to secure the viability and continuity of the industry.
And finally, the Tourism Ministry is honoring a late public servant who gave 50 years of service to the industry in various capacities locally and overseas. Portfolio Minister Dr. Wickham McNeil recently announced that the library at the New Kingston offices of the Jamaica Tourist Board JTB had been renamed the Clive Eugene Taft Information and Resources Center. The announcement was made at the recent official opening of the Clive Eugene Taft Retrospective Exhibition at JTB's offices.
We're doing something here at the Tourist Board which will keep the name of Clive Taft, who was so instrumental in its development and its legacy. So instrumental in building what the Tourist Board is today.
The renaming of the JTB Library and the hosting of the exhibition were part of activities in observance of Tourism Awareness Week, which ran from September 21 to October 1. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
Chikungunya is a viral infection transmitted when an Aedes aegypti mosquito bites an infected person and then bites someone else. Symptoms include high fever, headache, joint pain, muscle pain, and rash. If you suspect that you've been infected, take paracetamol such as Panadol, Cetamol, and Tylenol. Infants, children under 5 years old, pregnant women, the elderly, persons with sickle cell, and chronic illnesses such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease are at risk for more severe symptoms and must see a doctor for proper evaluation and monitoring. Fortunately, most cases of CHIKV are mild, but if your symptoms worsen, you need to see a doctor. For more info, call 1-888-1-LOVE from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That number again, 1-888-663-5683.
The Disabilities Act seeks to ensure that society's most vulnerable will be provided access to all human and civil rights, interests, and benefits provided to other citizens. We learn how this will be accomplished in Strategic Priority Number 5.
Effective social inclusion and protection continues to be a strategic priority on government's list for the 2014-2015 financial year, providing adequate social protection for all, including the vulnerable, so that Jamaicans are able to take care of and provide for themselves and their families. To help fulfill that priority, there is a need for legislation to protect a particular group of persons.
A national disabilities bill to provide for further protection and legal entrenchment of the rights of persons with disabilities.
3 months later, the groundbreaking legislation was passed in the House of Representatives to improve the lives of persons with disabilities in Jamaica. The National Disabilities Act has its roots in the National Policy for Persons with Disabilities, which was created in the year 2000. Access to education, employment, health services, housing and transportation were just some of the goals of the policy. 14 years later, after a series of consultations, aspects of the policy were enshrined in law in the National Disabilities Act. The Act defines a person with a disability as one who has a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment which may hinder full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with other persons. To ensure that persons in that category are fully included in the affairs of the country, the National Disabilities Act reinforces that a person who is visually impaired, for example, has the same fundamental rights as any other Jamaican. Another objective is to ensure that the disabled community can effectively participate in activities on an equal basis with others.
Prevent or prohibit discrimination against a person with a disability. This is to promote respect for differences and acceptance of persons with disabilities as part of the human diversity and humanity.
Under the Act, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, the JCPD, which is now a department within the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, will become a corporation.
The function of the JCPD includes advising the Minister on matters pertaining to persons with disabilities and on current trends, policies and programs concerning persons with disabilities, monitoring the operation of such trends, and conducting public education programs in relation to the Act.
The JCPD will also be responsible for registering all members of the disabled community in a national database so as to account and plan for them. The entity will also report to a management board consisting of no less than 7 persons who are deaf, blind and visually impaired or physically disabled. As government acts on strategic priority number 5 by passing the National Disabilities Act, it is ensuring that Jamaicans with disabilities have equal access to opportunities. Things like education and training, employment, political office and public life, healthcare, housing and transportation.
This will create an enabling environment where persons with disabilities can integrate into and participate in all aspects of society.
As it relates to education and training, the law clearly states that a disabled person will be able to attend a school of their choice. The institution is also required to support the disabled person by making reasonable arrangements to facilitate their education. Similarly, qualified persons with disabilities should not be denied the chance to work in an organization, but should be treated like any other candidate. And in the event that one becomes disabled on or off the job,
that employer should be required and seek to redeploy that employee to another position. But this new position should be commensurate with the current skills and abilities of the employee, and the employee should not suffer a loss of remuneration or benefits in the process.
However, if the employer cannot move that employee to another position, the employer can indicate accordingly. Likewise, to ensure the protection of the disabled community, it is now mandatory for them to have equal access to general healthcare services, including screening, treatment, and early detection. This access is also applicable to housing and commercial premises, as the owner of an existing building should make adjustments to the property, if feasible, to facilitate disabled persons. Protection is also guaranteed if and when disabled persons plan to buy property.
This prohibition against discrimination includes offering different terms and conditions to the persons with a disability and refusing to dispose of the premises to the persons. Additionally, a person who manages a premises or facility is not permitted to discriminate against a person with a disability.
And when it comes to public transportation, as far as possible, public passenger vehicles should be equipped to facilitate passengers with disabilities.
Public passenger vehicles include motor vehicles or any other conveyance or transport by road, rail, air, or water that provides the general public with a general or special transportation service on a regular or continuing basis.
And there are harsh penalties for those who breach the Disabilities Act. For example, if an individual gives false information to the JCPD or an authorized person, they face a fine not exceeding $1 million. A similar penalty applies for corporate bodies that breach the Act. And where complaints need to be ventilated, a tribunal to be established will settle the dispute. The Government of Jamaica, acting on strategic priority number 5, effective social inclusion and protection, improving the lives of Jamaicans with disabilities by enacting legislation so they will have equal access to opportunities.
Vision 2030 goal number 1 highlights how the education and health sectors and the creative industries will be used as tools to build the country's productivity. We learn more now.
Vision 2030 Jamaica, the country's first long-term national development plan, is aimed at achieving developed country status by the year 2030. The plan has 4 main goals which outline what should be achieved for the economy, society, environment, and governance. Through goal number 1, Jamaicans are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. All Jamaicans are expected to fully develop their talents and abilities and use them in productive ways to build their lives and develop the country. This empowerment will take place across 4 main areas: health, education and training, social protection, and culture.
A healthy and stable population.
First and foremost, starting with our people as the most important aspect of development, to have a healthy population.
To make this a reality, policies and programs are planned to deliver a healthcare system that is affordable and accessible, with state-of-the-art equipment and competent and well-trained staff. Jamaica will increase its ability to fight diseases, infectious diseases like HIV/AIDS and malaria, and chronic and lifestyle diseases such as diabetes. This will assist efforts to increase the length of time someone is expected to live, from the current 73 years to 76 years. The size of our population is expected to be stable so that the country's population growth rate will be in line with its rate of development.
World-class education and training.
The vision for Jamaica is that all citizens are educated and well-trained by the year 2030. Emphasis is therefore being placed on all levels of the education system. At the early childhood level, more trained teachers are being employed to mold the little ones, and steps are being taken to improve the learning environment. When these students transition to the primary level, the aim is to get them numerate and literate so they'll be able to function in the secondary school system. After completing 5 years of high school, students should be able to attain at least 5 subjects, including English and mathematics, in the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examination, CSEC for example, and transition to the tertiary level to pursue academic studies or focus on technical and vocational areas.
Not everybody we know will be able to focus on straight academic, but we should provide them with the skills and the competencies so that when they go out there, they again can, they can manage.
Since the implementation of Vision 2030 Jamaica in 2009, much progress has been made in the education sector. In 2011, 71% of students who sat the Grade 4 literacy test mastered the exam, up from the 67% in 2010. There has also been an increase in the number of spaces for students at all levels of the education system. The Jamaica Tertiary Commission is up and running, and work continues on the national parenting policy.
The parents need to ensure that they send their children to school, and not only send their children to school, they provide support at home.
Effective social protection.
In order to achieve the first goal of Vision 2030 Jamaica, the country must also provide adequate social protection for all, including its vulnerable and most needy population. This will be done by ensuring that persons contribute to the National Insurance Scheme, NIS for example, and also participate in pension schemes. Vulnerable persons are children in low-income households, the elderly, persons with disabilities, and the poor. Several programs have already been introduced to improve their quality of life. These include the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH, which is providing income support to challenged households, the Steps to Work and special youth employment and training programs. As for the disabled, through Vision 2030 Jamaica, they should have equal opportunity to an improved quality of life. The Road Traffic Act has also been amended to allow some persons with disabilities to acquire driver's licenses and be able to drive.
Authentic and transformational culture.
Through Goal 1 of Vision 2030 Jamaica, all citizens will celebrate, promote and protect our history and rich heritage. Our core and transformational values, such as honesty, respect, trust, forgiveness and discipline, for example, will be embraced by the society.
Underpinning the plan is recognition that unless we have mindset change and reinforcement of those positive things that made us strong as a people and made us positive, then the plan is doomed to failure.
Through the Citizenship in Education and Civics programs in schools, the younger generation will be taught the core values. The family has to be restored as the cornerstone of society, providing the foundation for its members to be integrated into the wider society. Among other things, a number of museums and culture yards will be established to showcase the things that make us unique as a people. Our national brand, Brand Jamaica, will also be incorporated in all aspects of our social and economic development. The role of sport in national development will also be strengthened.
Sport has a very strong economic component, but it's also a very strong social and even moral component to it, in that it causes people to develop values that can be positive, and we want to integrate sport into all of our national development.
Sports promote respect for each other's rights and build bridges across communities, churches, schools, and even across borders. Vision 2030 Jamaica, through goal number 1, is bringing out the best in everyone, empowering Jamaicans to achieve their fullest potential. To learn more about the National Development Plan, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or the Jamaica Information Service. Visit the Vision 2030 Jamaica Facebook page or vision2030.gov.jm. Join the vision. Let us all make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
We are more than see and stand through Vision 2030 Jamaica Plan.
Oh, now I understand.
Health and wellness tourism generates billions globally, and the market is growing at a significant rate as an increasing number of the world's population becomes more conscious of the need to adapt to a healthy lifestyle. This government has made the continued development and diversification of the tourism product a priority, which is guided by the Master Plan for Sustainable Tourism Development. Critical to this process is the development of health and wellness tourism. As you may be aware, a joint ministerial body drafted a policy and strategy on health and wellness tourism in Jamaica and identified medical tourism as a subsector on which to focus. A strategy was also conceived to position new medical facilities that would meet international accreditation and thereby compete globally to take advantage of our proximity to the North American market. Jamaica's salubrious tropical climate, our world-class resorts and spas, and excellent service delivery by workers in the tourism sector, matched by skillful professionals in the field of health and wellness, offer the ideal combination to travelers who are often spend considerably higher sums of money than the average tourist when they leave their homes for a vacation or medical visit overseas.
For more information, call the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment at 920-4926 or visit their website, mot.gov.jm.
A healing spa, culturally rich entertainment, sweet treats. These and other offerings await visitors to Milk River. The Tourism Ministry sees the potential and is on a drive to revitalize community-based tourism through the offerings of Milk River on the south side of Clarendon.
I think this is the best thing that could have happened for the Ministry of Tourism, and in particular Milk River.
To highlight the potential of the community, the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment selected the rustic location as the venue for its Tourism Awareness Week Community Tourism Fun Day. The day was also special for another reason. It was World Tourism Day, Saturday, September 27, and the Fun Day aptly tapped into the theme, tourism and community development. At the center of it all was the world-renowned Milk River Hotel and Spa.
We chose Milk River because it was further along, and partially because we also manage the property and the Ministry of Tourism.
The ministry's agencies and its partners were out to support the venture and raise awareness of the impact tourism can have on the community's social and economic development.
What we want is a man in Clarendon not to feel like tourism is only for Negril. We want a person in Old Harbour not to feel like tourism is only for out the rest.
Today's event in Milk River is a good thing, more exposure for us and for us to be out there, not just known as Milk River Bath, but for the community of Milk River. JTB working along with us. They informed us of their plans, and what they did, they tried to ensure to get our involvement.
Hoping that a fraction of the millions of tourists who visit the country's shores will trek down to Milk River, residents came out to prove their tourism potential. There were dancing competitions, artistic performances, and even football. But it wouldn't be a day at Milk River without a dip at the spa.
What I envision is that a tourist on the North Coast, for example, could easily get a day trip to the Milk River, have a bath, have the food, and see the center of the island, and get back over to the North Coast and have the best sleep for their whole visit. There is a vision, rightly so, to look at a South Coast development for the tourism product. And we think that there are several attractions here that can attract probably a different type of tourists, or in addition to the tourists that goes to the North Coast. With the plans that are afoot, it is likely that Milk River could become the driving force for the whole South Coast tourism.
It's a concept that's been tested and proven. Just ask the residents of Beeston Spring in Westmoreland. As seen there, community-based tourism holds tremendous potential as a means of reducing poverty and creating jobs. It's why government is moving to introduce a community-based tourism policy. Clarendon residents are eager to see Milk River sharing in the bounty.
There's a lot of attractions, and more like on the side of ecotourism, the Godswell. It's a very unique hole that is referred very deep. It is referred to as the Godswell. It's about a mile and a half from here on the South Coast Road, that going up the road, turn left and it's around the side. And on that same with the Carnival where you have the manatees and a museum, a fishing museum as well. You have nature walks as well. Different species of cactus. That's the main thing, birds, crocodiles.
Tourism means for the people of Milk River, first thing it means is development, because a lot of people here is not working, unemployed. So if tourism comes in, then you could have other areas opening up so they could get jobs.
More employment in terms of the fisher folks, more business, in terms of the farmers, more business, in terms of the youngsters, training so that they can get jobs.
The hope now is that the Fun Day was a catalyst for change, but already there are plans to make sure Milk River becomes the next community-based tourism spot.
So we want things like, for example, we need to dredge part of the river so that we can have a boat coming upstream and have an experience here. We are going to do some more work on the road to have the road going that side, and we are going to try to integrate the farmers and the agro park. We have an agro park up the road as well. So once we get those, it is part in the Par side, Spring Plain community, and we have now a program to upgrade all the roads coming to Milk River. I hope that I'll be able to beautify the roadways, planting trees and maintaining the verge. So when you come to Milk River, you will feel like you are really in just another world.
On any day of the week, take a trip to Milk River. Drink some cool jelly water, enjoy some entertainment, then cool off by the bubbling spring.
So the next time you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, think about that Jamaican hideaway where you can go to take a deep breath, basking sunshine and slide into our refreshing waters. Continue to stay in touch with JIS through our Facebook and Twitter pages. Additional programs are always available on our website or YouTube channel. According to AJ Rebmateri, many people spend their health gaining wealth and then have to spend their wealth to regain their health. So be careful in the choices that you make daily. I'm Arroyo Eubanks. Keep healthy.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.